Hey everybody, just wanted to give a little disclaimer before the episode begins. We actually had a rough time recording this episode. The internet kind of kept cutting in and out on us, so we kept losing our Skype call. I had to end up switching computers at one point. But on top of that, John actually recorded with the wrong microphone. So he recorded with his computer microphone rather than the podcast microphone. So his audio is going to kind of sound like it's coming through a Skype call or a telephone. Because of that, his microphone can kind of pick up some mouse clicks and some chair noise and things like that. So it's not the best episode quality or sound quality wise, but it's not bad. And next episode will be better, we promise. So with that, enjoy this episode. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Superheroes, Movies, and Superhero Movies. I'm Justin Speck.
I'm John Pelzo.
Today we're going to talk about our top 10 most anticipated movies of 2015. But before we get into that, I'd like to give a little thank you / shout out to an iTunes user who gave us a 5-star review on iTunes. This was back on January 19th. I'm sorry, we're just now getting around to this. I didn't see it until this week. But it was by Trevon J. Brady, or Trevin J. Brady. I apologize if I'm not saying your name right. But he wrote, "Hey guys, I'm a big fan of your podcast, and I really enjoy your guys' opinions on movies, so keep doing what you guys are doing. Also, if you guys have time, you should really check out the Blade movies, especially Blade from 1998 and Blade 2 from 2002. I really enjoy those movies, and the first Blade was before X-Men, and was the first comic book movie that was commercially successful for Marvel at that time, so I would really appreciate it if you guys do a podcast on those movies. Thanks again." No, thank you for your review and for your feedback.
Yeah, thank
you. Definitely, we're definitely going to talk about the Blade movies. It's on our list of movies to talk about. We just haven't gotten around to it. But you're correct that Blade was before X-Men and it was commercially successful. But I think John and I really kind of think that X-Men 1 was kind of a more of a game changer for comic book movies than Blade, perhaps.
Oh, absolutely. And X-Men was definitely more. Blade was Marvel, came out before, but no one in the general audience would really know who Blade is, especially that it was a comic book.
Right.
X-Men was kind of Marvel's poster, aside from Spider-Man, was kind of the poster child for Marvel, and people knew that was a comic book movie, but not discrediting Blade or anything. And I actually haven't even seen Blade, so I look forward to doing those and seeing them for the first time, and it's going to be interesting. What my opinion is going to be about it. When did they come out? 2000?
First one
came out in 2000.
First one was 1998. Mm-hmm. And the second one was 2002, and I think the third one was 2005.
Yeah. So they might be a little dated for me, but I'm excited to see them. I know about Blade from the Spider-Man universe, at least.
Right. Did he show up in the cartoon, the old 94 cartoon?
Yeah, he did, because he was hunting Morpheus.
Right. Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't remember Blade from the cartoon. I know that he showed up. I don't remember that episode, but so I think the first time I ever heard of Blade was when the movie came out, and I didn't realize that it was a Marvel character. X-Men, when X-Men came out, I was super excited about X-Men because I grew up on that cartoon show. So I think there were a lot of people our age that watched that TV show and were probably pretty excited about that movie. Blade was also rated R when it came out.
True.
I mean, it's still rated R. And in 98, I was a freshman in high school, so I don't think I saw it. I mean, I know I didn't see it until it was out on DVD later. But
also Punisher technically came out before Blade.
Yeah, that's true. Although, like I said in the episode, I'm not sure the Dolph Lundgren Punisher had a U.S. theatrical release, so
right.
I don't think that one did a whole lot. I mean, maybe overseas it did stuff for Marvel, but yeah. Blade, and and Howard the Duck was also a Marvel movie, and that came out before Blade. I don't think that one was very commercially successful, but that movie should probably be on our list of movies to talk about too. But anyway, thank you for the review. We appreciate the feedback, and that's always nice. Feel free, anybody else out there, to give us a rating on iTunes. And each star, you don't have to give us a 5-star review. We would like to actually know your thoughts on the show.
Yeah, be honest.
Yeah.
If you want to give us a 1,
that's right.
Please don't. But if you want to give us a 1, then please do.
Somebody out there has given us a 1-star review, but they didn't write the review. They just gave us 1 star. So I don't know how we can change for them. I don't know how we can.
Out there, we are an awful podcast. So.
Somebody really didn't like us, but that's okay. So before we jump into our top 10 movies, or top 10 most anticipated movies of 2015, there's some superhero movie news out right now that I thought we could talk about. Most notably, Sony and Marvel have come to an agreement to have Spider-Man be in the Marvel universe. And so the rumor, is that he's going to show up first in Captain America Civil War, which is due out next year. And then in 2017, a year later, he's going to have his own standalone movie put out by Marvel Studios, which it's kind of, I am not sure how I feel about having a third Spider-Man so soon. But I understand that they can't use Andrew Garfield because they want to separate this Spider-Man from that universe.
Exactly.
So I get it.
I agree with you. Like, I liked Andrew Garfield. Can't really talk about The Amazing Spider-Man 2 because we haven't done an episode of that. But
sure.
I don't, fault them. I completely understand them wanting to be able to take Peter Parker and mold him to fit their universe. Yeah. As opposed to taking Sony's Peter Parker and making that Peter Parker fit in the universe.
Right. I think it would just be difficult and it would be confusing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was around the time Sony got hacked and there was those emails. There was a lot of stories talking about how Sony and Marvel were trying really hard to get Spider-Man in the Marvel universe, trying to get kind of, an agreement, and they couldn't do it. And so I guess, forgive me because I've never actually read the Civil War storyline. But from what I understand, Spider-Man is a big part of that story. And so they really wanted Spider-Man to be in that movie. And when they couldn't get him, I heard that Black Panther was going to kind of play the role that Spider-Man played in the comics. Well, now that they've got Spider-Man, which is amazing, I wonder if Black Panther's not going to be in Civil War, or if they're going to kind of give him a different role, essentially. I don't know.
Yeah, I would suspect. Yeah, who knows whether he's going to be on it, but it'd be foolish to go about their old idea and
right.
And keep.
Yeah, I mean,
Black
if you've got
Panther
Spider-Man now, and Spider-Man was such a big part of the comics, then use Spider-Man. I'm assuming they're going to have to rewrite the script. I don't believe they've started filming that one yet, so I guess they've got some time.
Do you think there's a chance for Spider-Man to have a cameo in the Avengers 2?
I don't think so, because unless it's a post-credit sequence.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, because that movie's got to be they wrapped a long time ago, and they've got to be close to finishing it. To have it in theaters by May. Mm-hmm. So unless it's a last minute, but they'd have to cast it. The role hasn't even been cast yet.
Not necessarily, because I was having this conversation with someone, and you could technically at the end have whatever happened post credits, and then they're standing in the city or something. You have an explosion, very cliche stuff that I'm talking about here, but and then you have just in the far distance, you just see this figure swing.
So just have it like a CG cameo?
Just swing. You've got a shot down the street, and you just see just a quick swing, and he's gone.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, there he is.
I could see that. And it would honestly be pretty cool. I don't know what the post-credit sequence is going to be, for at the end of Avengers. Although I couldn't have guessed that Thanos was going to be in the end credits of the first Avengers. But yeah, that would get people excited for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to talk about a couple of Marvel movies, but on that note, perhaps we should jump into our...
Well, I wanted to talk about, you mentioned Daredevil as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Daredevil, the teaser trailer for Daredevil for the Netflix series came out a couple weeks ago, I think. And we haven't talked about that movie yet, but I was just curious what your thoughts are, having seen the trailer on the show.
I'm excited about it. I've watched it a couple times. I hadn't seen it until right before we did this.
Mm-hmm.
And sat down and watched it, and I watched it twice now. And it looks pretty good. It's more of a teaser.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice the first time I watched it, but the second time it says all episodes.
Yeah, well, Netflix always puts out all the episodes at once. So as soon as it comes on Netflix, you can marathon the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like is good and bad, because you sit down and you're like really excited. You don't have to wait a whole week for the next episode. You can start it right away. But you could potentially watch the whole show in a day if you had enough time, I suppose, if you wanted to sit around for 13 hours.
Right.
A little less, I suppose. But you could watch the whole season in a day or two, but then you have to wait an entire year for the next season.
Whereas, and not just that, but you're missing out on the anticipation.
Right.
You're missing out on the community of people that, where you get to ride along with the excitement.
Right. And, have those cliffhanger endings where you got to wait a week. And you're like, I can't believe I got to wait one more week. So, in a way, I like that they put it up, because you can marathon it and just watch it all real quick. It'll be like a 13-hour movie. But at the same time, I think they're, it's kind of nice almost having that anticipation and waiting week to week to see kind of what happens next. But I don't think I'm going to be able to resist. I think I'm going to have to probably marathon Daredevil.
Kidding. Yeah, I agree.
And watch all of it.
Kind of had a Arrow feeling to it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got. I like that it kind of looks kind of dark. They're kind of going for a somewhat realistic approach to it, which I think they kind of mentioned that they were going to try to do that. My one kind of nitpicky complaint, and I'm hoping that it's just they haven't shown it yet, but every picture and piece of footage, which really this is all they've shown so far, has had him in that black costume with like the bandana that comes down over his eyes, which is cool, but I'd really like to see him in the Daredevil costume. And it doesn't have to be like leather like the Ben Affleck Daredevil costume, and I hope it's not like that. But he had that red costume with the little horns and stuff, and I'd kind of like to see it. And I'm just hoping that maybe for the first few episodes or something, he's wearing that black costume, and then he gets the red costume. But if he's in the black costume the whole show, the whole season, I think I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Daredevil had a black costume, didn't he?
I believe he did. I think, from what I understand, this series is influenced by the Frank Miller run of Daredevil. Mm-hmm. And I think in that, he might have had that black costume, or it might have been like kind of a year one Daredevil type thing, Yeah, it was like one of his first...
It seems like I had an action figure that was a black costume.
Really?
Daredevil, yeah.
The only, I remember it from, there was an old Incredible Hulk made-for-TV movie where Daredevil and Matt Murdock were a part of it, and he wore that costume. He had like a black costume with like the bandana that comes down over his eyes. So I'm assuming there's a comic out there like that, and then, and if he's, like I said, if he stays in that costume the whole series, I'm sure I'll still like the show, but it's just not going to quite feel like Daredevil to me.
Right. Yeah.
The comics, all the Daredevil comics I read, he was in that red suit.
I can't imagine them not doing that.
Right.
Plus, Marvel's behind. Like, how involved is Marvel with this? Do you know?
I think they're pretty involved.
Yeah. So I would imagine that they'll get that suit on. Maybe not right away in the first few episodes. I'm expecting at least by the middle, they might pull a Smallville and wait till the end,
the last episode. And that was my other thought. This could be considered Daredevil, year one or so. I don't think it is. It didn't seem like it from that teaser trailer, but it could be considered like Daredevil year one, and he doesn't get that red suit until the end or until season 2. But one of the cool things about, this Daredevil is technically in the same universe as the Avengers. So Spider-Man could potentially maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the TV rights versus the movie rights. I'm not sure, but it'd be funny. It'd be interesting. It'd be pretty sweet if Spider-Man showed up in a Daredevil episode or something. Obviously not this season because I think they're done and they didn't have the rights to Spider-Man and all that at the time. But like in season 2, like have a Spider-Man Daredevil episode.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
No,
I don't know if that will happen, but that'd be cool.
Oh, you want to move on to the
sure,
the top 10 here?
Top 10 most anticipated movies of 2015. I tried to pick some movies that I thought you might not have on your list. So I'm curious to hear what you have, and I'm hoping that I know our number 1 is definitely the same, and I'm assuming our number 2 is probably similar as well.
I doubt we have the same number 1.
All right. Well, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Well, let's see. I don't have too much to say about my number 10.
Okay.
I'll go ahead, though. First, I'm going to say my honorable mentions. No, I'm not. Because then
save those for after we talk about number 1.
Right. So, number 10 on my list is Tomorrowland.
Very nice.
Tomorrowland, I saw the trailer not too long ago. A teaser, really. That's really, I think, one of the main reasons why it's on the back of my list is because there's not too much, to see about this or know about what's going on.
Yeah.
George Clooney's in it. It's directed by Brad Bird. Great director.
Yeah.
Came from Pixar. Didn't he? I mean, I know he was.
Yeah, he directed like The Incredibles. Yeah.
Did he start in Pixar though, or
no? He might have. I mean, he directed The Iron Giant, which was before I think he started working for Pixar.
Yeah, okay. I did not know that. That was a good movie.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, he's got a good track record.
Yeah, he does. He does. So that's a big plus for me. And it's got the sci-fi for it going, and it looked. That's my number 10. Tomorrowland
is actually not on my list, but I am excited for it. Brad Bird, like you said, he's only directed one live action movie so far, which was Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, but that was awesome. And the small bit of footage we've seen looks really, really good. Looks really cool. I have no idea what the story really is, so I'm excited to go see it. I think that's a good pick.
Thank you.
Number 10 for me, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about my number 10 either, and that's just because there's not a whole lot, I guess, known about it maybe, or at least that I could really find. It doesn't even really have a release date, but that is Silence, which is directed by Martin Scorsese. And it's on my list pretty much because it's Martin Scorsese, and I love pretty much everything he does. He's one of those directors that I will if his name is on it as director, I will go see it. But this is about 2 Jesuit missionaries, played by Andrew Garfield and Liam Neeson, in 17th century Japan. That's all I really know about it. So that sounds cool to me. Liam Neeson and Andrew Garfield in a Martin Scorsese movie in 17th century Japan? Sure. Why not?
Is this Liam Neeson's first movie with Martin Scorsese?
With Scorsese? It might be, yeah. I can't think... No. Liam Neeson was in Gangs of New York.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Briefly.
Yeah, he wasn't in it for very long, but yeah. So this is probably his first, starring role, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
That comes out November something. It's supposed to be sometime November of 2015.
Did we mention when Tomorrowland was coming out?
I don't believe we did.
Okay, that's May 22nd.
Got it. Nice, like, summer movie. It's gonna be. I'm looking forward to seeing, because they put out a Super Bowl commercial for Tomorrowland, which gave us a little bit more footage. But I'm excited about seeing like a trailer for it.
I didn't watch the Super Bowl.
But did you see any of the Super Bowl commercials?
I should mention that at my work we're in a very busy time, so
right.
That's
you don't
actually
get to sit around and watch trailers at work anymore.
Yeah, that's
right?
actually what happened last year when we had kind of went through that hiatus. Was work. So I'll be done with that come April. So I'll be able to start getting a little bit more information on this stuff.
Sure.
Anyway, so my number 9 is Is it Machina?
I'm not sure actually. Machina?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of the other. One of the two. But yeah, that movie looks sweet.
Yeah, and it's directed by
Alex Garland. Yeah.
Yeah. Who did
who wrote Dread.
Exactly.
Yes.
And he wrote Sunshine,
which I love.
It was a good one. And 28 Days Later, which took me a while to like that movie. But but he's got some good... Now, he didn't direct any of those. This is actually his directorial debut, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's correct.
But the trailer looks very intriguing to me. It's kind of dealing with a lot of issues and questions that are being brought up today, which Terminator brought up 20 years ago.
Right.
Well, actually 30 now. Goodness gracious. But
31.
Yeah. But what happens when we give a machine not free will, but self-awareness. So, and also the inside story looks kind of interesting, because you got these two friends and they start kind of turning on each other, and then the machine actually is kind of the devil's advocate in this. So, it looks interesting. So that's my number 9, and that comes out April 10th. Very cool.
I saw the trailer for that in the theater not too long ago, and it definitely looks very intriguing.
Yeah, the visuals look really good too.
Yeah. And Alex Garland has written some pretty cool movies, so I'm definitely going to go see that one, I think. Number 9 for me is actually on a similar storyline, I suppose, with yours, but from a different director. It is Chappie, directed by Neil Blomkamp, who directed District 9 and Elysium, which some people have kind of hated on Elysium, I've heard, and I personally thought it was awesome.
I still haven't seen Elysium, but I saw District 9, and I liked District 9 a lot.
Yeah, District 9 is really, really good. Got a Best Picture nomination back in 2009. Elysium kind of came and went, but I saw it twice in the theater. I was really taken by it, and I thought the visuals in that were really good, and I thought Matt Damon was really good in it, and thought the story was cool, and so I'm actually really excited about seeing Chappie. As some people, have said, it's just, kind of a modern-day Short Circuit. Which,
that's exactly what I thought when I was watching the trailer for it.
But I'm okay with that. I love Short Circuit. But this one looks like it's going to have a lot more action, obviously, than Short Circuit. It's not a comedy like Short Circuit was. I'm curious to see kind of Hugh Jackman looks like he's the villain of the movie, so that'll be kind of cool to see. Neil Blomkamp has made 2 really good movies in my opinion, and I'm hoping Chappie's his 3rd good movie. That one comes out March 6th, so it's actually not too far away.
Nice. Number 8 for me is Terminator Genisys.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Alan Taylor, who did Thor Dark World.
Yeah.
And I meant to rewatch the trailer for this. To kind of refresh, because it's been a couple weeks since I've seen it.
Right.
But from what I remember, it's First of all, Arnold Schwarzenegger's back in it, which I know excites you because you were such a big fan of Terminator 3.
Mm-hmm.
Emily Clark, Sarah Connor. If you don't know who she is, she's the mother of dragons in Game of Thrones.
Right.
And to my understanding, they are trying to undo the first movie.
Yeah, pretty much, and that's one of the things that kind of intrigues me about this new Terminator. I don't really, based on the footage I've seen, I don't really have a whole lot of high expectations for it. But I will say I give him points for, essentially kind of, well, number one, I think they do a good job of explaining why Arnold Schwarzenegger looks older, which is that he was sent back to an earlier time. And he does, Terminators have living tissue. And so it would stand to reason that if he stays in the, if he stays, like, I guess, I was going to say in the past, but it doesn't matter where you are. As long as the Terminator is active, I suppose.
Yeah, he ages.
Yeah, the outer skin would age. Yeah. So I kind of like that. I like the idea that, they are kind of resetting the timeline. They're rebooting. I mean, they're rebooting the franchise kind of the way that Star Trek did it,
mm-hmm.
by having, going back and kind of erasing what happened in previous films. And so I'm very curious about this Terminator. I think it has the potential to be good. I'm not sure how I feel. I don't watch Game of Thrones. I apologize, but
thank you.
Well, I figured I probably just lost some listeners by saying that. But
well, I watch Game of Thrones, so those listeners, please stay because Game of Thrones is amazing.
There you go. And so I'm basing this completely off of the trailer, which I think is, it's kind of almost maybe unfair, but I don't know how I feel about. Is it Emily or Amelia? I thought it was Amelia.
Oh, it is Amelia
Clark.
Did I say Emily? My bad.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't know how I feel about her playing Sarah Connor. She looks very young in the movie, which I know she's supposed to be young. It's supposed to be the 1984 version of Sarah Connor, but she also, I don't know. It's like she's playing the younger Sarah Connor, but she's also supposed to kind of be the Terminator 2 version of Sarah Connor, who's like this tough, kind of militant person, and I don't know. But again, like I said, I don't watch Game of Thrones, and I know she's supposed to be kind of this leader person.
She's a good actress.
Yeah, so.
And I agree and share a lot of the things that you said. I just noticed that James Cameron is actually listed second on writing for screenplay.
But is it just for characters?
Could be. I don't have that information. It doesn't say.
Yeah, usually they'll, credit James Cameron because he created the characters.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was really shocked that he would have been involved in this project at all.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is. I share a lot of the things that you said. I definitely agree about her being younger. And another term, I didn't see Salvation. I still have not seen Salvation. That came out forever ago. Saw 3, which I liked pretty well the first time I saw it, but second viewing, it went down a little bit.
Yeah.
And the reputation that Salvation had, I definitely am concerned about this one, but the trailer looks like it could be decent. And that's the other thing I was going to mention is this year, I kind of had to hunt and find my top 10. So,
right.
But anyway, that's my number 8.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw Terminator Salvation, and at the time I liked it. I have not watched it since, really. But I think the only way that I kind of can enjoy it, because I hated Terminator 3, and I think the only reason that I kind of can enjoy Terminator Salvation is because I can almost kind of disconnect it from Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 in my mind. I can almost watch it as if it's not really a Terminator movie.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Christian Bale plays John Connor and Anton Yelchin plays Kyle Reese. But I think, because Schwarzenegger's not in it, it's not. It doesn't feel like a direct sequel to Terminator 2 or something.
Okay.
And part of the reason why I don't like Terminator 3 is because Terminator 2 ends so perfectly,
right,
that you really don't need a sequel to Terminator 2.
Right.
And so I don't know. So I'm a little skeptical about Terminator Genisys, but I'm hoping that it's fun. I'm hoping it'll be good and it'll be a fun time at the theater.
Yeah, it sounds like we kind of have about the same feelings for it, but
yeah.
But I didn't have, like I said, I kind of had to hunt, and that one deserved to be on my list as far as my intrigue goes for it.
Yeah.
So. And that comes out July 1st.
Very nice. Number 8 for me is Mad Max Fury Road. And this actually probably wouldn't have been on my list had it not been for the trailer that came out. Up until recently, I'd actually never even seen any of the Mad Max movies. And so I've seen part 1 now, and I have The Road Warrior at my house, ready to watch that. But the trailer that came out made that movie look so crazy that I couldn't help but kind of get a little excited for it. And I love Tom Hardy. I think he's a great actor. This is directed by George Miller, by the way, who directed all of the original Mad Max movies.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Okay, that spikes my interest. I've only seen the first one once, and I watched it not too long ago, which I remember liking pretty well.
I liked it. It definitely doesn't have the craziness that this new one does, and I think maybe that craziness doesn't really kind of come into play until part 2. I definitely am going to watch The Road Warrior before Mad Max Fury Road comes out, but it just looks like it's going to be, an hour and a half to 2 hours of just kind of nutso action, and so I think it'll be fun. I don't know. I'm hoping it'll be good anyway. So
that's interesting because the trailer for me kind of made me a little nervous.
Really?
I thought it looked a little hokey. It was cool. Like I could tell most of the trailer was cool, but there were these bits and pieces where I was like, uh-oh. So it actually, I'll just go ahead and say it. It's not even on my list.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. I can understand that. And I am, it does the trailer. Most of the trailer is like get people in cars driving through deserts and stuff, and so I am hoping that there's some sort of story to it, and it's not just all that, because that'll get old pretty quick. But if it's got a good story and it still has all that action and everything, I think it'll be kind of fun. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So Mad Max Fury Road is my number 8, and that comes out May 15th.
Okay. Well, my number 7 is... I'm not going to have much to say about it because I haven't seen the first part, which is Mockingjay Part 2.
Okay.
I have not seen Mockingjay Part 1 yet. But I have seen Hunger Games and Catching Fire. I've read all the books.
Right.
I've read them a little while ago, so it's a little fuzzy for me about book 3. But I do remember enjoying the books. Book 2 is by far my favorite. But book 3, I enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't like book 3 near as much as the first 2. But right. I remember I was like, I enjoyed it pretty well.
I remember liking book 2 the best. And to be honest with you, I can't really even remember what happens in book 3. And so I did go see Mockingjay Part 1, and I actually thought out of the movies, Mockingjay Part 1 is probably the best out of the 3 so far.
Okay.
And so some of the stuff that happens in the movie obviously kind of came back to me as I was watching it. And so I honestly can't really remember what happens in the second half. So it's not on my list, but I am looking forward to seeing that movie. It will be pretty good, I hope.
Yeah. So that's really all I'm going to say on that. It's a shame, of course, that... rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah. And I'm very curious as to how that's going to look, because, he died in the making of that movie.
Right.
And from what I understand, they're going to kind of digitally finish his performance, is what I've heard.
Right.
So I don't know if there's
Oh,
truth to
really?
that.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if that was for sure or not, or if they were going to just, work around it or whatever. But
Right.
And
honestly, you can't believe everything you read on the internet, obviously, but that's what I read, and so I don't know. I'm kind of hoping they don't do that because I imagine it'll just be really noticeable, and it'll take you out of the movie, and it'd be better if they just kind of worked around it somehow.
True. At the same time, though, I think it'd be kind of interesting because this would really be the first time that's been done.
Right. Yeah.
And I think, we've talked about, I think it was probably our Jurassic Park commentary that we talked about how CGI still hasn't really caught up.
Right.
But I think in the world that they're in, if you put them on a holographic, display or something, that they could probably get away with it.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. We have no idea the context of the scene that he's in that he needed to do. Like they could kind of have him do like an Obi-Wan Kenobi. I guess it would actually more of like a Princess Leia help out Obi-Wan Kenobi type display, and then that way it won't look so terrible or something.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be very interesting. But I mean, I guess they're going to have to. I mean, who's going to do the lines? Are they going to piece it together from previous, dialogue, or get like a Philip Seymour Hoffman impersonator?
Right. Right.
So I'm very curious to see that.
Well, that comes out.
But I'm also curious because the movie, the three movies have all been pretty decent. So I'm, excited for the last one.
Right. And like I said, I haven't seen part one, but the first two I really enjoyed. And figured that part one wouldn't be any different. It seemed to be very well received, so that is on my list because I eventually plan on seeing part one. So that comes out. That comes out November 20th.
Cool. Probably by that point, part 3 might be on Netflix, so you can see it before you see the new one.
Yeah.
Number 7 for me is, I have to admit, is a movie that I had actually not heard of until I started researching for this list. But I like everybody that's involved, and that is The Revenant, which is directed by Alejandro González Iñárritu, who most recently did Birdman. And I've liked all of his movies so far. And this movie stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy. And listen to this plot. Leonardo DiCaprio plays Hugh Glass, who is a 19th century fur trapper who is mauled by a grizzly bear, left for dead, and then robbed. When he survives against all odds, he sets out on a treacherous journey to exact revenge on his betrayers. Yeah. Sounds pretty crazy.
I thought I had heard of that movie, and I was going to watch the trailer, doing some hunting for this, but I didn't. I didn't even know Leonardo DiCaprio was in it. I would have watched it if I had known that.
Well, is there a trailer? I thought they were shooting it right now. If there's a trailer, maybe I'm wrong.
Is there not a trailer? Well, I didn't even check. So maybe there's
I don't think there is, because the release date for this is December 25th. It's a Christmas Day movie.
Okay.
I read, by the way, that plot description I read word for word, and I got it off movieinsider.com, so I don't want anybody to think I was plagiarizing and coming up with that myself. But, as far as I know, I think they're shooting it right now, and I read that they're shooting it in order, which is kind of unheard of in terms of movies nowadays. So, I'm very excited. Alejandro González Iñárritu definitely has a very interesting directorial eye, and so I think it could be a really good. It sounds like a very dark and violent movie, but I think it'll be awesome. So, not even having any trailers for it or anything, The Revenant is number 7 on my list, which, like I said, comes out December 25th.
Nice. All right, that puts me at 6. Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, Fantastic Four. I was wondering if this was going to be on your list or not.
Yeah. I'm moving up. I'm moving up now to some more recognizable ones. Well, not that the others weren't, but anyway. Fantastic Four is I'm on the fence about. the trailer came out recently, which I watched, and it probably took me more off. I'm leaning more towards I am more excited to see it now, but still on the fence about it.
Right.
The cast, not so much the acting is what concerns me. Definitely their age.
Right. Yeah, they all look kind of young.
Yes, it's like Fantastic Four First Class.
Right.
They're very young.
Yeah.
And it's particularly the guy that plays, Reed.
Yeah, Miles Teller.
Yeah. And Invisible Woman. She's very young too.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer was intriguing though. I'm curious who's narrating that. Is that supposed to be Doctor Doom?
I don't think it's Doctor Doom. I think it's actually the actor Reg E. Cathy, I think is his name, who plays Dr. Franklin Storm. So he's supposed to be Sue and Johnny Storm's father.
Okay.
And you see him very briefly in the trailer. But I think, I'm familiar with that actor and I know his voice and I'm pretty sure that's who's speaking. I don't think it's Dr. Doom. I was going to try to look up these actors' ages. Miles Teller is 27. Kate Mara, who plays Sue Storm, is 31.
What?
Yeah. Jamie Bell is 28, and Michael B. Jordan, who plays Johnny Storm, is 28. So they're all almost, Kate Mara is the oldest, I guess, 30 years old.
They look so young.
Toby Kebbell is 32, who plays Dr. Doom. So it's still kind of young for a cast, but I think it's just they all have baby faces.
They do. That's the thing. That's insane. They do not look that age. I mean, I'm 30, and Sue's older than me. She does not look. And wow. Okay. Well, I guess some people age better.
Yes. But I'm very curious about this movie. I like Fantastic Four, the characters. We talked about the first. Oh, not the first Fantastic Four movie, but the Jessica Alba, Johan Griffith version, and we liked it for the most part. And so this trailer definitely makes it look. It almost doesn't really feel like a Fantastic Four movie. Fantastic Four, the characters, I feel like have always kind of had a lighter kind of tone to them,
right?
Even in the comics,
yeah.
And so it'll be very interesting to see this take on Fantastic Four, and I wonder if going dark with it is the wrong way to go. However, the lighter tone of the previous Fantastic Four movies might not work so well now. I mean, the second movie didn't do well, and I don't really think the first movie was, that big of a hit.
Right, it wasn't.
So,
and yeah, you're right. And we talked about, at the time that the Fantastic Four came out, it was, there were superhero movies that were coming, but we were still kind of molding what everything was. And now that that's been done, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think you could really do that. And so it's interesting. This was definitely taking it seriously. You've got a CGI thing.
Yeah. Who, from that last shot of the trailer, I guess doesn't wear clothes, which I guess makes sense. I guess it's always a little weird to have the Thing wearing, his pants, or if in the cartoon version, he's wearing like a Speedo. And in this one, it just looks like he's just made out of rock,
Yeah.
No clothes necessary, which I guess makes, like I said, makes sense.
Yeah. Once again, that's more of a teaser. We don't have too much information on this yet at all, actually, except for the fact that Dr. Doom is not Victor Von Doom, and he's a hacker. Right.
Which is different, very different. I think a lot of this movie is going to be very different. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, as long as the story's good and everything. But I don't know. I'm on the fence about Fantastic Four. It's one of my honorable mentions. It's not on my list, but
Yeah, let me make this clear. My list is not based on how good of a movie I think it's going to be.
It's just right. It's just what you're looking forward to see.
It's more intrigue. Like, yeah, exactly. What would I pick if I had to pick between these two? Which one would I pick? And that's kind of how I place a movie above another. Except towards
that's essentially how I made my list.
Yeah, except for towards the front. That's our number ones. Right. Our number ones are going to be completely different. We've already been over that.
Right. Yeah. So when does Fantastic Four come out?
Oh yes, that comes out. It's August 7th.
August 7th. Got it. My number 6 doesn't even have a title, so I apologize for that. But it is Steven Spielberg's Cold War spy thriller that's going to be coming out October 16th.
Well, Steven Spielberg, I have no knowledge of this, so I'm interested to hear what you have.
I again didn't really know much about this one or even know that he had a movie coming out this year until I started doing research for the list. He's doing it's directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Tom Hanks, which I think is a good combo when you have Spielberg and Tom Hanks. Yeah. Amy Ryan is also in it. And then here's one of the big kickers that made me even more excited about it. It's written by the Coen brothers.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is all the knowledge I have on that movie. It's
That's crazy.
Directed by Spielberg, written by the Coens, and starring Tom Hanks and Amy Ryan. That's all I know. But that's enough for me to put it at number 6 on my list.
Fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. It's weird that I mean, who would say no to Spielberg? But it's interesting that the Coen brothers aren't going to be directing, their own.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know why they've been doing this, but I guess they've been taking writing jobs lately because they also were credited with writing the screenplay, co-writing. I mean, they're not the only writers, but the movie Unbroken that came out this past Christmas that was directed by Angelina Jolie. Uh-huh. They are credited writers on that film as well.
But they're the main writers on this one, right?
As far as I know, they're the main and only writers on this one. But I could, I'll obviously once the movie kind of gets closer to coming out, I'll know more. But as far as I know right now, they are the only writers on this film.
Yeah, I don't remember if I mentioned. It seems like I did mention this in an earlier podcast, but the Coen brothers are a. Time moves slow for me, so it's actually been longer than it feels. But they're kind of more of a recent gem for me, and
right.
It's insane how many. I think they probably have more 5-star reviews from me out of their films than any other director. I'd have to compare it to Steven Spielberg, but they just astound me pretty much every time they do something.
Yeah,
so.
They do some really good stuff. So yeah, that's my number 6 Steven Spielberg film, Cold War spy thriller.
All right. Number 5 is Ant-Man, which stars Paul Rudd.
Yep.
And Michael Douglas. No, yeah, it is Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. Yep.
I get him and Martin Sheen mixed up a lot of times. And the trailer came out not too long ago, which looks like it's funny that we were talking about Fantastic Four. This has a little bit more of a lightheartedness to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I guess you would expect because it's a man that is called Ant-Man.
Right.
And I don't know anything about Ant-Man actually. Except the
I know very little about Ant-Man. This is another one of my honorable mentions. It's not on my list, but it's a Marvel proved last summer that even if the general public doesn't really know the characters, they can still have a pretty a hit movie, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying their luck again with Ant-Man, which I've heard of Ant-Man. I hadn't heard of the Guardians of the Galaxy before they announced that movie, but that's because I'm not I got to turn in my comic geek card. But at least I've heard of Ant-Man.
Right.
But I don't think the general public probably, non-comic book people have really probably ever heard of Ant-Man. So they're hoping they can have another home run with Ant-Man like they did with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Now, I'm curious because like I said, I don't know anything about Ant-Man, but I heard that he actually, if I'm not mistaken, was the creator of Ultron in the comics.
Yeah. In the comics, yeah. Actually, and so the way in the comics, I guess there's two, Ant-Men in the comics. Hank Pym, I believe, is who Michael Douglas is playing. And in the comics, that is who created Ultron.
Okay.
But they're changing that storyline for the movies.
Okay. Yeah.
And, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Age of Ultron comes out before Ant-Man this year. And so I think in this movie, Michael Douglas is playing Hank Pym. If I'm making sure I'm getting that right, yeah, Hank Pym, and Paul Rudd is playing Scott Lang, who I guess, in the comics was like the second person to be Ant-Man, and I think in the movie that's the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Hank Pym was Ant-Man, and now he's kind of handing the mantle over to Scott Lang. I don't know anything about Scott Lang or anything from the comics, so that's kind of all new to me.
Yeah. But from the trailer that we got, it looks fun. I didn't know what to make of what they were going to do with this movie. With all the talk and stuff. How are you going to do Ant-Man? But it looks like they can do some really cool stuff with this, and the directing from the trailer looks like it's going to be good. The cinematography, all that stuff. So. And I just noticed I had seen this poster before and thought it was a joke, but it actually is the official poster. It's just a white poster with Ant-Man written and this little black dot which in the center, which is Ant-Man. That's pretty brilliant.
I actually saw that at the theater, and if you get close to it, you can actually tell it's a little person.
Yeah.
But I thought that was clever little marketing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm hoping this is really good. It's a Marvel movie, and Marvel is. You remember how like Pixar couldn't do any wrong, and then they put out Cars 2, and that was like their first failure, essentially, critical failure. Marvel is kind of in the same boat where like every movie. Well, I take that back. I was going to say Marvel's kind of in the same boat where every movie they put out is good, but Iron Man 2 didn't really get the critical praise that the previous movies got. So, and I don't think Thor 2 really got the same kind of praise. Right. So but I don't think they haven't really had like a big flop yet.
Exactly. Just because they didn't get the praise, they weren't bad movies. Some people might disagree with that, but
I've enjoyed them. Yeah. But so I'm hoping Ant-Man does not prove to be like their big first flop, and I think it'll be okay. But I really was looking forward to seeing the Edgar Wright directed version of this movie, and so when he dropped out, I was kind of disappointed.
Right, I forgot about that.
But the trailer does look like it'll be okay, and so I'm definitely going to go see it.
Yeah. So that's my what number was that? 6? No, 5. That was my number 5, and that comes out July 17th.
Cool. My number 5. I don't really have much to say about it. It's called That's What I'm Talking About, and it's directed by Richard Linklater, who is getting a lot of praise this year for writing and directing Boyhood. But I've been a Richard Linklater fan for a few years now. I really kind of became a fan of Richard Linklater when it was probably 2004, so I'm still kind of late to the game. But he directed the Before trilogy, and I was working at Blockbuster when Before Sunset came out on DVD, and I had never heard of Before Sunrise, and so I rented them both, and I fell in love with both of those movies. And then last year, 2 years ago, 2013, Before Midnight came out, and loved that movie too. And he's not all of his movies are hits, but he's good enough that I'll pretty much see the movies he puts out. Mm-hmm. And so this one is they're considering it a spiritual sequel to Dazed and Confused, which was his second. It's like his first studio movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen Dazed and Confused in a while, but it is, I remember it being a good movie. And so this one, like, I just looked up the cast on IMDb, and I didn't recognize really anybody. I think somebody from like the Teen Wolf TV show is going to be in it and stuff. So it's a lot of younger. It's a lot people from or younger. It's a young cast, is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the movie kind of takes place during high school, and I know the only thing I really know about it is that a lot of the male characters are going to play baseball. So that's all I know. I don't even have a release date for it. I don't know when it comes out. I'm assuming it's probably going to be near the end of the year. But here you go. It says it's set in 1980, and a college freshman moves into the baseball house at his college and experiences a fraternity-like lifestyle with his hard-partying teammates. That actually doesn't really do a whole lot for me in terms of story.
Right.
But it's Richard Linklater, so I'm excited about it. I'm hoping it's good. It's number 5 for me.
Cool. Well, my number 4 has already come out, and I am not.
Oh, okay.
I've not seen it. Obviously, it wouldn't be on my list if I had. American Sniper.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Clint Eastwood directs. Bradley Cooper, and all the stuff that's going around on the internet about the guy that the character is. I'm just kind of pushing that aside. I want to see the movie. I've seen the trailer. I remember seeing the teaser for it and just being blown away with the amount of suspense. It kind of brought back the feeling of what was it called? It had Hurt Locker.
Yeah,
kind of that feeling. And
yeah,
Bradley Cooper. I love Bradley Cooper. He's it took I think the first movie I saw with him in it was probably The Hangover.
Yeah, that's kind of the movie that like launched him into stardom. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But not too long after that, I saw Limitless, which was great, and loved his performance in that. And just it's stuff I've seen. He's an amazing actor.
He is very, very good. And I have actually seen this movie, and I was a little nervous going into it that his southern accent was going to be over the top and was going to annoy me. But he actually does a really great job in the movie, and he got an Academy Award nomination for it. Mm-hmm. So I won't say too much of it, obviously, because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But it is a really good movie.
Awesome.
Definitely worth seeing. And just a little bit of trivia: I actually auditioned for a part in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I obviously didn't get it, but it was really cool. I got to go to Warner Brothers and go to Clint Eastwood's production office. And so I walked down this hallway, and it was like Clint Eastwood poster after Clint Eastwood, movie poster. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool, pretty nerve-wracking, but yeah, pretty neat.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan, particularly his older Western movies. The Bad and the Ugly is one of my favorite movies of all time. And his directing's, great too. Mystic River, Gran Torino.
He's a hard-working director. He puts like a movie out a year, pretty much.
I mean, I think he's pushing 90 if he's not already.
Yeah, I want to say he's like 86.
Yeah, he's. But yeah, like you said, each one that comes out, I'm like, is this going to be his last movie? I need to see it in the theater.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So, but yeah, American Sniper. Really excited to see that soon. So that's my number 4, and that is already out.
Very cool. My number 4 was actually my number 3, but I had to bump it down a level after seeing the Super Bowl commercial. And that is Jurassic World. The reason that I bumped it from number 3 to number 4 was because you and I, John, talked about the Velociraptors from that teaser trailer, and how you mentioned that the Velociraptors were going to be like trained to protect humans or something in the movie.
Right. That was a rumor that was going around at the time, but apparently that is true.
Right. And I thought, no way. And I was like, I hope that's not true. Well, the Super Bowl teaser that came out pretty much confirmed that. There's a scene, I don't know if you've seen it, like you said, you've been busy, but there's a scene where Chris Pratt is like kind of Velociraptor wrangling, sort of.
Uh-huh.
And then pretty much right after that scene is the shot of him on the motorcycle, and the Velociraptors are like running with him, and it's very obvious they're running with him, not, away from something with him. So
and what a cool
that makes me a
scene that
little
would have
nervous.
been, to have a human running away from, let's say, a giant T-Rex, and these velociraptors right next to him. They've got a clear shot at, a prey, but
Dinner,
they don't care
right.
because they're running for their lives.
Exactly. I think that would have been really cool. Yeah, but to have like him teaming up with velociraptors, just I don't know. That really makes me really nervous. I love the original Jurassic Park. Obviously, it's our favorite movie, and we talked about that. But and so I'm really excited about seeing a new Jurassic Park movie in the theater. But I'm not sure about this one. I put it, in my top 5, obviously, because I do have such a nostalgia for Jurassic Park. But I'm hoping. I hope it's good. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope I love it. But I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That one comes out June 12th.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to say too much because number 3 is Jurassic World for me. Same reason, I put it way up there on my list, not necessarily because I think it's going to be a great movie. It's just this Jurassic World, and to be able to see Jurassic Park, and I didn't see 3 in the theater, which I really don't care that I didn't, but
I did, and I was disappointed.
Yeah. But and I'm kind of, I plan to definitely see this one in the theater, and expect I'll probably have the same reaction. But it takes place in the park again, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's cool.
And just to be able to go revisit the park is really why I'm, anticipating the movie so much.
Yeah.
So that's my number 3. I'll just
yeah, I feel that. I mean, yeah, we're on the same boat, I think, on that one. My number 3 is Mission Impossible 5, which originally was going to be coming out in December, but they announced very recently that they've pushed it back to July. So now it's going to come out this summer, which I think was a very smart move because, there's another big movie coming out in December that I think Paramount decided they didn't really want to compete with.
What?
Yeah, we'll talk about it, I'm sure. So Mission Impossible 5 is directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who is most notably known for writing. He wrote The Usual Suspects and won an Oscar for it back in '95. But he also has become good friends, I guess, with Tom Cruise, starting with Valkyrie. He wrote and produced Valkyrie, and then he wrote and directed the Jack Reacher film, which I was a huge fan of, and I believe he did. When Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol came out, when the first teaser came out, Christopher McQuarrie was listed as one of the writers, but then by the next trailer, his name had been taken off. So I don't know what kind of, probably Writers Guild kind of rules were going on there, but I think he did some uncredited writing for Mission Impossible 4. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a writing credit or did some uncredited rewrites for Mission Impossible 5 as well. But I'm a huge fan of the series. I almost kind of wish Mission Impossible 5 had come out next year, because then it would have come out 20 years after the original film, which I think would have been kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But they decided to put it out this year instead. But that's cool. I'm excited about it. Tom Cruise is in it again. I think Jeremy Renner, Simon Pegg, they're all in it again. So
right.
I have no idea what the story is, but it's Mission Impossible, so I'm definitely going to go see it. July 31st.
Fair enough. That one did not make my list, only because I have still not seen Ghost Protocol.
Oh man, you gotta.
That's
what
I've heard.
Really good movie.
And I'll tell you what. One of the reasons I haven't is because, well, it's not really the reason, but I guess it's floating around in the back of my mind somewhat. But when I first saw heard that they were coming out with Mission Impossible 4, and it was called Ghost Protocol, and I remember the trailer didn't do too much for me either. I felt like it was kind of going fast and furious, I guess.
Right.
So I kind of stayed away from it. But I've seen the first 3, enjoyed all. No, I didn't. I don't know why I started saying that, because I did not like Mission Impossible 2. But 1 and 3 were great, and I've heard nothing but good things about Ghost Protocol, which really shocked me. So it's been sitting in my Netflix queue, unless they took it off, but I think it's still on there, and it has been for a while. If I had seen that and enjoyed it, I might have put 5 on my list. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Ghost Protocol, directed by Brad Bird. I remember when they announced that it was going to be called Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, I thought to myself, that sounds terrible.
Right.
But it's the best, in my opinion, it's the best Mission Impossible since the first Mission Impossible.
Okay.
And I got to see it. They shot some of it with IMAX cameras, and I got to see it in a real IMAX. And they did a great job with that, because there's this whole sequence, of him being I forget the name of the building, but it's like the tallest building in the world, and he's like on the kind of crawling up the outside of it. And they shot that with IMAX cameras, and it really gave you kind of acrophobia because of how high he was and everything. It made you real nervous. So it was a really good movie. You don't obviously you'll get this, you won't get the same experience as if you had seen it in the IMAX, but the IMAX element of it isn't what made it a good movie. It's actually a good story and really well directed and everything. So you should definitely check that out. And I think if you had seen it, you'd be more excited about Mission Impossible 5.
Nice.
So that's my number 3, Mission Impossible 5.
I think
July 31st.
I think our number 1 and 2 are the same.
I think so.
Which is kind of hard. How could you avoid that with these 2 movies?
Right.
Number 2 for me is Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yep. Number 2 for me is also Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yeah. We've got the second Avengers coming out here. Back at it again with Ultron. The trailer looks awesome.
Yeah.
It really blew me away. And I remember when it was announced it was released, and I was loading up the trailer to watch, and I was thinking, what can they do, at this point to be? I'm like, it's not gonna blow me away, but
right.
It did. I was absolutely blown away by the trailer. Ultron is I like the voice that they've chosen for him.
James Spader.
Yeah. The design, that of course I read somewhere that is Ultron that they've shown in the trailer, right?
As far as I know, I believe.
Okay.
It's Ultron.
Because I read somewhere that there was something about the design, but maybe not. Okay, yeah, I was assuming it was Ultron, and he looks great. Did you see the little video that they did with the Avengers having to sit down at the table? That little scene was awesome.
Yeah, they showed part of that in the trailer, but I remember they released like a clip of them all trying to lift Thor's hammer.
Right.
Yeah, that was really Joss Whedon's humor again.
Yeah, it's just not lacking. It's just staying with its its stamina. It's just they just keep going with it, and super excited about Avengers. Don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. The first Avengers movie really kind of almost took me by surprise. Like, I was really excited about it, and I was really looking forward to it, and I couldn't wait to see... that was the first time it had ever happened, having multiple superheroes in one movie, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't wait. And then seeing it in the theater, I actually did a... marathon. The theater that I went and saw it at showed all of the Phase 1 movies ending with the Avengers at midnight. So it started at 10 in the morning. We watched 6 movies.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, which was awesome. And so the theater was packed, and we were all loving it. And I think that was one of the best times I've had in the theater in my life, I think. It was... So the original Avengers definitely kind of has a soft spot in my heart.
Yeah.
But it also is one of the best superhero movies, of all time, really, I think, and so I can't wait to see what happens in part 2, and I hope that it's just as good, if not better, and I can't imagine. You know, I just imagine that it's going to be bigger, and you know, the fight scene between Iron Man and Hulk already kind of says it's going to be bigger.
Yeah,
you know?
it just your jaw just drops. The imagery of Ultron, you know, walking out and just crushing the head of the what is that anyway?
You know, I don't know if it's another like robot or if it's an Iron Man mask or what it is that he's crushing, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It looks like another robot.
Right. And actually,
something.
I think it is because it's got a number on there.
Okay.
So I don't know, you know, if that's something to do with the story in the movie itself. Obviously, it's something associated with Stark. But I'm trying to think what else was in that trailer. But yeah, the Hulkbuster.
Something that's not in the trailer that I'm excited about is Vision.
Oh yeah.
Which is played by Paul Bettany, who is the voice of Jarvis, which is an good choice, I'm assuming. To be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about Ultron, and again, I got to hand in my comic card, I suppose. But I grew up, more of a DC Comics person, so I don't know. There's some Marvel characters that I'm just not as familiar with, and Ultron is one of them.
Right.
So I'm kind of, in a way, I'm almost excited about that, because since I don't know much about Ultron, it's all going to be kind of new to me.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. You know, as far as comics go, when I was a kid, it was X-Men.
Yeah.
And I remember having an Ultron trading card.
Oh, really?
I had, a Vision trading card. But as far as the story goes, I don't know too much. I've heard that it's kind of similar to I'm trying to think, it's similar to one of the DC characters. Basically, you know how they bounce off each other. I can't remember if it's Darkseid or Brainiac. Probably Brainiac. I would assume would be the closest.
Okay, that would make sense. I guess.
But yeah, Avengers 2.
And that's May 1st.
Yeah. Oh, it's
kind
right
of
around
kicking
the corner.
off. Yep, kicking off the summer movies, I think, pretty much,
It's gonna be interesting to see how they do this, because it's almost like the Avengers was the end of the phase 1 of Marvel, the Marvel movies.
Right.
But this is almost like, with the lineup that they have coming out, this is kind of like the beginning of what's to come.
Well, I think it is. I think it is kind of the ending of phase 2, but you could also look at it as the beginning of phase 3.
Would you really consider? I know that they had sequels, but was there really a phase 2?
Yeah, I think phase 2 was Iron Man 3, Thor 2, Captain America 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that was phase 2.
Fair enough. Okay.
And then phase 3 will have Captain America 3, Thor 3, and then we got like Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Phase 3 seems like it's the biggest, because I don't really know where phase 3 ends, because they've already announced Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Avengers 3 Part 1 and Part 2. And so I don't know if the Avengers Infinity War movies are going to be kind of the wrap-up to... What's going to be crazy is that... I know that that's not until like 2020 or something. I think the first one comes out in 2019 and the second one is... Or maybe it's 2018 and 2019. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
But when all of these movies are done, it's going to be really weird. Like, is Marvel going to just reboot everything? Or are they going to like... try to continue? I wonder what is going to happen with the state of Marvel movies once we're done with phase 3.
I hope they do something, because otherwise we're out of a job.
It's very true. You got to keep making movies so we can keep doing episodes.
Yeah.
Although if we stay bi-weekly, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, we have quite a list to go still, and that's why we include regular movies too. We'll eventually get to Terminator, Indiana Jones, stuff like that.
Right. All right. So Avengers: Age of Ultron, May 1st. That's our number 2 pick for this year.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Drum roll. Star
Hot Tub
Wars.
Time Machine 2. Star Wars. Okay. That was
Did I say Star Wars? Hot Tub Time Machine 2. That is right. Number one.
That's right.
Star Wars.
No, Star Wars The Force Awakens, of course, yes. Which comes out December 18th. They released a teaser trailer back in November, which, I'm going to be honest with you, when Lucasfilm was bought by Disney and they announced that Episode 7 was coming out, I rolled my eyes and I thought, do we really need it? You know?
Right. And I feel like that's what the reaction of a lot of people was. Yeah. And I almost felt like that was the reaction I was supposed to be having. But deep down inside, I was like, thank you, God. I've been waiting for them to say they were going to do this trilogy.
Yeah. And then, it was announced that J.J. Abrams was going to direct. And I think there was some mixed reactions about that, because
I had a mixed reaction. Yeah, absolutely.
He had directed Star Trek, yeah. And so some people were like, really? You're going to give it to him? But honestly, I thought he's pretty perfect for it. He is. Very kind of outspokenly a Star Wars nerd.
Yeah, he mentioned that, about Star Trek. He was never a Star Trek fan. Yeah. He was always a Star Wars fan.
He was always a Star Wars fan, right. So I got maybe, the interest peaked a little, or got a little bit more around that time. And then when they announced the cast and they officially announced that Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher, and Peter Mayhew, and Anthony Daniels, and all them were coming back, I got a little bit more excited about it. And I thought, okay, they're at least they're headed in the right direction. And then when that teaser trailer was released in November, I officially got excited for the movie. And I thought, I can't wait to see this. This looks awesome.
The teaser trailer for me, same thing. Except it was like, I felt like it was the same excitement that it brought back that love for, not that I ever, no, I did. Over time, I've always loved Star Wars, but the feeling that I had with Star Wars when I was in 7th grade, back when when they were doing the special editions, that's when I got into Star Wars. That came back to me, and it all clicked. And especially with the original cast, I've been Luke Skywalker was always my hero. When they had the prequels. Yes, I was excited about this, but Luke Skywalker wasn't going to be in it. Luke Skywalker is in this. Right. Now, granted, he's not going to be, the protagonist,
same Luke Skywalker,
but still, you got to do it now while he can portray Luke Skywalker.
Right, and I am glad that they are doing it now, before it's too late, essentially. And I remember back when I was the same age, the special editions were coming out. I became a huge Star Wars fan, and I can't remember if I read it somewhere, or if I heard it in an interview, but it was revealed back then. This was before the prequels came out, that I don't. At that time, it might have even been referred to as Episode 4, 5, and 6. I can't remember, but he obviously put it out there that there was an Episode 1, 2, and 3 that he had in mind, and he also was planning. He had planned originally to do a 7, 8, and 9.
Right, and he was actually planning on doing those first, movies? Like way back in the day, like as Return of the Jedi was coming out. They were talking about the ideas for 7, 8, and 9. And they weren't really, like you said, they were referred to them, but they weren't. Like, people, especially the diehard fans, knew. But they weren't, I don't think they were really referred to as the episodes until episode 1. Editions? Yeah, because when the special editions came out, people knew that the new trilogy was coming.
Yeah. And I can't remember, I'd have to go back and watch them, I guess. But I think even the versions I own on DVD are not the special editions that came out in the late 90s. They're the, whatever remastered, done, whatever ones that came out after the prequels. But I'm almost positive that when I saw it in the theater, they said Episode 4, 5, and 6 in the opening.
I'm pretty sure they did too, yeah.
So it was kind of, maybe kind of common knowledge or whatever at that point that these were the middle 3 movies of a bigger kind of franchise. And so when they finally, in the 2000 or whatever it was, 2000, when did that? No, 99. That's when episode 1 came out, right? Yeah, so in 99 when episode 1 was coming out, we were all stoked because we're finally going to get to see the first 3 movies. And then, they didn't turn out quite how we were expecting them. And I really hope that with episode 7, that's not what happens again. But I think, and I hate to say this, but I think that George Lucas is kind of his own worst enemy. And I think because he's not in control of it, we're going to get some better movies.
Hopefully.
With episode 7.
And from what we've seen, it looks good. Then again, the trailer, I can't really put myself in the shoes of when I saw the trailer for episode 1. But you go back and watch it, and you can see how people would have been like, "This is going to be amazing," because it looks good the way they put the trailer together.
Oh yeah, and I remember seeing that trailer it was like that was the internet was fairly new then, and that was one of the first movies I watched online, or first trailers I watched online, and I've probably watched it 100 times. I could not wait for episode 1.
Yeah.
And so that feeling is kind of coming back with episode 7, which is interesting that they're not. I guess it doesn't bother me that they're not calling it episode 7. And I understand why they're not doing it, because when Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi came out, those weren't called episode 5 and episode 6. So I think they're kind of trying to go back to that. Just call it Star Wars: The Force Awakens rather than Star Wars Episode 7: The Force Awakens.
Right.
It's going to mess up my whole DVD collection when it comes out on Blu-ray, and I got to put it in with the other Star Wars movies, and it doesn't say Episode 7 on it. And that's important.
Yeah.
No, but I can't wait for it, and I almost wish that they hadn't given us a trailer yet, because we have to wait a whole year. At that point, when they put it out in November, we had to wait a whole 13 months before we could see the movie, and sometimes I feel like it's just mean to do that. But
it's coming up quick, though. It's coming up quick.
Yeah, it will. Time will fly, and it'll be here before we know it. I hope that I have the same feeling for the Batman vs. Superman trailer when it comes out that I did for Star Wars and for Avengers. Fingers are crossed on that one.
See, Star Wars outdid Avengers for me, and I'm going to be excited about Batman vs. Superman, but it's kind of in the background right now. Star Wars,
right? And I think part of that is because there has been no footage, and there's really not been. I mean, other than those, like the one picture that's been released of Ben Affleck as Batman, there really haven't been any pictures released or anything. So, I'm hoping that once some footage is released, that we'll get excited.
I'm wondering too if they're kind of holding that right now because everyone is focused on Star Wars.
Right, and it's over a year away, so they've got time. Yeah. We'll probably see our first teaser trailer, I'm assuming, sometime this summer. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of me, I don't want to know. I'm staying away from information I can. The teaser I went for, I'm sure I'll watch the trailers. At least the first one.
Yeah, for Star Wars.
At least the first one. But yeah, I want to go into this blind as possible.
Yeah. Sometimes that really works out, I think what I'll probably do is I'll probably watch the first trailer that they release after, whenever that is, this summer probably or something, and then I will not watch any subsequent trailers that come out after that.
Yeah, I have some.
So,
I was gonna say I have some theories about some things, but I'll save that. I'm not gonna talk about that.
Okay. We'll have to save that for our episode 2 discussion or something. So that's my list. I'll recap it real quick for you. Number 10 is Silence, directed by Scorsese, which comes out in November. Chappie, directed by Neil Blomkamp, coming out March 6th, is number 9. Number 8, Mad Max Fury Road, directed by George Miller, and coming out, I lost it on my list, May 15th. 7 is The Revenant, directed by Alejandro González Iñárritu, and that comes out Christmas Day. Number 6 is the untitled Spielberg Cold War spy thriller, which comes out October 16th. Number 5 is That's What I'm Talking About, directed by Richard Linklater, and I have no idea when that comes out. Number 4 is Jurassic World, which I don't think we said, but is directed by Colin Trevorrow, I believe is how you say his name. And it comes out June 12th. Number 3, Mission Impossible 5, directed by Christopher McQuarrie, coming out July 31st. Number 2, Avengers Age of Ultron, directed by Joss Whedon, coming out May 1st. And number 1, Star Wars, directed by J.J. Abrams, coming out December 18th.
Very good. Mine, I didn't write down the release dates, so or the director, so I'm not going to have much detail, but number 10 was Tomorrowland, 9, Ex Machina, 8, Terminator Genesis, 7, Mockingjay Part 2, 6, Fantastic Four, 5, Ant-Man, 4, American Sniper, which is already out, 3, Jurassic World, 2, Avengers, and 1, Star Wars.
Very nice.
My honorable mentions, I did have Chappie on there.
Okay.
In the Heart of the Sea.
Yeah.
Which
That
is
was really
directed
good.
by Ron Howard. The trailer, it didn't make it because the trailer seemed like it could be a little bit CGI heavy for me.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the Peanuts movie.
Oh, yeah. I saw a trailer for that. It looks
kids-
pretty good. It looks. I mean, there's no story in the trailer, but it looks like it'll be fun.
Right, like, I've watched some of the more recent, the ones that came out in the early 2000s, the Christmas ones, and those just don't do it for me.
Right.
The humor is just not there. But this one looked like it was better. So I'm hoping, and my kids really like Charlie Brown, so
Sure.
I'm hoping that that it'll be a good one. So
Any others?
yeah, that's my honorables.
My honorable mentions. I'll just go over the ones that you mentioned already pretty quickly here. Terminator Genesis, Ant-Man, and Fantastic Four were all on the list. I am excited about all of those, but they weren't quite enough to make it in my top 10. And then the other two is one of them is Spectre, the new James Bond film starring Daniel Craig and directed again by Sam Mendes, who directed Skyfall. That comes out November 6th. And then The Hateful Eight, which is Quentin Tarantino's new film.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I might have actually I don't know. That might have been honorable mentions. I don't know anything about that except it is a Western, right?
It is a Western.
Yeah.
The script was leaked online, and he said that he was not going to make the movie because of that. He kind of got upset about it. And so, I don't know if I should admit this or not, but when that happened, when he announced that he was not going to make the movie, I found the script and I read it, and then he said he was going to make the movie. So I was kind of disappointed with myself because now I know. But I think he's changed the ending. I think that's going to be kind of the reason that he decided to go through with it, was because he was able to change it enough, and still make the movie worth it, I guess. So what I read was really, really cool, and I think it'll be a really great movie with classic Tarantino dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm real excited about that. I'm glad that he's making it. It's coming out sometime this year, but I don't know when. It's probably going to be I wouldn't be surprised if it's a November or December release.
Is it a spaghetti Western?
I don't know if you could consider it a spaghetti Western. I guess I don't really know the criteria for spaghetti Western. I know that a lot of those Westerns were filmed in Italy, and that's why they call them that. But
right.
This one takes place during a snowstorm. So it's like a winter Western. But I don't know. What do you consider a spaghetti Western?
Well, let me think here. It's that's a good question. It's more of a feel, like,
right. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it's probably going to be more along the lines of Django. Django, it's going to be different than Django, but it's probably going to kind of be in that same type of Western.
Okay. Cool.
So that's our most anticipated movies of 2015. Thank you for listening, and as always, if you've got feedback or comments, please let us know. You can leave a comment on our website, www.cinemaheroes.com, or you can go to our Facebook, facebook.com/SM&SM podcast, or you can throw us a line on Twitter @CinemaHeroes. Yeah, that's about all I got. I guess that wraps up this episode. Anything else, John?
That's it.
Cool. All right, well, I'm Justin Speck.
I'm John Pelzel.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading.